Hey everybody, in this video we're going to be doing a little off-season recap. We'll talk about spring training and, the expectations for this season. The Tigers, their season starts 2 weeks from yesterday, which was Friday, opening day, April 8th. So what better time than to talk about this stuff right before the season starts. So the off-season recap, we traded for Tucker Barnhart, catcher, two-time Gold Glover, I believe, and we traded Nick Quintana for him. He was a second or third round pick, I believe, in 2019, I think, for the same draft as Riley Green. We lost Matt Boyd and Grayson Greiner. Grayson Greiner's not much of a loss. He was never good. It will be good. They both elected free agency. Greiner, he signed with the Diamondbacks. Boyd signed with the Giants. They signed after the lockout happened, but they elected free agency right after the season before the lockout started. And throughout the season and throughout the off season leading up to the lockout, there was speculation that the Tigers, they were going to sign Carlos Correa. And it seemed like the Tigers were the favorites to sign him for the longest time. And then it came out the Tigers had offered him a 10-year deal worth $300 million, and he turned it down. So then I guess that was like the end of that. No reason to keep negotiating because they weren't going to go any higher. His asking price was like way above what it should have been, because Corey Seager signed for like $300 million, and so if he signed for that, then Correa was going to be asking for a lot more money, which they just couldn't do. So they ended up going ahead and signing Javier Baez. At the time it seemed like he was the worst option for shortstop to sign because of how much he struck out. But, strikeouts can be fixed. Especially with AJ Hinch, his teams don't strike out that much. A lot of contact hitters. Especially having Cabrera in the locker room, he doesn't strike out that much either. And then, in the beginning of free agency, Tigers went out and signed lefty Eduardo Rodriguez away from Boston. And he's gonna help this rotation tremendously, because we never really had, like last year, our fourth option was or one of our, not fourth maybe, but like options were Jose Urena, the dude that gave up. The Tigers would always lose by like a lot. Like they'd give up like 13 runs a start for him, and it was crazy. I went to a game where they gave up like 19 runs, and I stayed the whole thing. I don't know why I would do that. Anyways, he's gonna help this team, like that rotation tremendously, especially with guys like Manning, Skubal, Mize. A young rotation. They needed a veteran in their presence, Boyd was that veteran until he left. And then Javier Baez, he's gonna help that defense, especially man. Tigers had one of the worst shortstop, second base defense I've ever seen. Willie Castro, it was like once a game it felt like he was making an error or overthrowing first or something like that. And Javier Baez, no matter who the Tigers would have gotten, even if Javier Baez was the worst option, it was still a major upgrade at shortstop from what they had last year with Nico Goodrum, Zach Short, Willie Castro. I mean, it's just a huge upgrade. It's going to help the Tigers a lot, and they're going to win a lot more games with Javier Baez on their side this year. Now let's go to spring training. if you watched any of the spring training games, you would know that Akil Baddoo is destroying the baseball. He has 2 home runs in the leadoff spot this spring training, hitting .462 and 13 at bats. That's pretty impressive for a guy who last year during spring training he smoked the ball, and then as soon as he started playing in Detroit he smoked the ball. Then kind of cooled down a little bit, but he's staying consistent in his at bats in spring training. He's getting a lot of hits. He's hitting the cover off the ball, and last year he couldn't hit lefties at all, and then yesterday, he smoked a pitch off of a lefty pitcher for a home run, and it wasn't like a fluke home run, like kind of just throw the bat at it and it goes. It was a contact and well powered home run. He's been practicing. If you've watched the off-season videos that the Tigers PR posts on YouTube, and really paid attention to the Baddoo one, they showed a clip of him in just batting practice, hitting the ball, and he really made it a point to keep the ball, keep the batting tee on the outside of the plate, mimicking a left-handed pitcher, how they would pitch, because lefties would pitch you on the outside if you're a lefty hitter. So that's just something I noticed, and I had tweeted out saying that expect Akil Baddoo to hit lefties a lot better, and today was it kind of proved me right on that, and I'm happy for him. I mean, I hope he can hit lefties, and I hope he becomes a star player in this league, because that'd be awesome for the Tigers' sake, just picking up a guy and then him turning out to be an all-star player. Spencer and Riley, Spencer Torkelson, Riley Green, they're both prospects looking to make the team right out of camp this year. And they are showing why they should. Riley Green is hitting .273 with a home run and 3 RBIs and 11 at-bats. And then Torque is hitting .286 and 14 at-bats. He doesn't have any home runs or anything, but I don't think he's trying to hit home runs. I think he's trying to hit for contact in spring training, because during the season the home runs are going to come. He knows he can hit home runs. He's hit home runs everywhere he's been since he was in T-ball. So he doesn't need to start mashing the ball yet. Our starting pitching, I can't say enough good things about that starting pitching, because they have a average of a 1.61 ERA and a total of 27 strikeouts out of the 4 or the 5, actually, because Tyler Alexander right now is slated in that fifth day starter. There's 3 guys with a 0 ERA. It's Mize, Manning, and then Alexander with a 0 ERA, and they still have Michael Pineda, who they just signed a few days ago, yet to join spring training. I'm not sure he will, because AJ Hinch said there's a visa issue he has to deal with, and it probably won't be at spring training or until the season starts. But yeah, the starting pitching's looked phenomenal, and I think they're ready to start the season. And then for the bullpen, they signed Andrew Chafin from the Athletics, Big Country, as he likes to call himself. He threw lights out the other day. I didn't get to watch that game, but from what I saw and read, he threw lights out. And it's going to be a huge piece for this bullpen, because the bullpen's getting better, but it's struggling still. It's kind of like the middle of the road bullpen. They got some good guys in there, and then they got some guys who need to work on it, and then they got some guys who just flat out suck. But it's getting better, and I believe this bullpen can keep us in games, and then I believe they won't blow the lead if we have one, or they won't if we're trying to make a comeback. They won't make the deficit even bigger. I think the bullpen's in a good spot to help the team succeed, and for the expectations this season, it's been 9 years since the Tigers won a playoff game, and it's been 8 years since they've been to the playoffs. After the season they just had, they were 10 games under 500. And the offseason they had, 10 games under 500 was, in recent years, a phenomenal season compared to, 20. I'm not even going to count 2020, but 2019, 2018, 2017. It's a phenomenal season for their standards that have been the last couple of years, being way below 500 and out of the playoff race right away. And us fans have expectations to make the playoffs. You go out and sign a Gold Glove catcher. You go out and sign Eduardo Rodriguez, World Series champion, and then a guy who can throw a lot of strikes for you. You sign Javier Baez, who does have strikeout problems, but those can be fixed. He's a great fielder, and he's a great clubhouse guy. Got a great personality. And then, as much as fans expect to make the playoffs, the players expect to make the playoffs. You see interviews of them talking about, playoffs, where, our goal is the playoffs. Hinch always talks about the playoffs. Says we got to win the division, and then I watched AJ Hinch say he tells every team that their goal is to win the division and make the playoffs. And I think the Tigers do have a very good shot at winning the division. I don't think Chicago is all that good. I think they are a good team, but I don't think they are a powerhouse juggernaut to run away with the division. I think Cleveland is out of the picture. Minnesota is out of the picture, even though they just signed Carlos Correa. Weird. Kansas City. Kansas City's weird because they can either be very bad or they can be very good, or there's really no in between with them. It's hard to determine them, but I think Detroit will really give Chicago a run for their money, and I think Detroit will end the season as number one in the American League Central and be in the playoffs. And we got the guys for it. We got 3 young starting pitchers, which is hard to make the playoffs with that, but they all have a veteran attitude, and they got great veteran pitchers alongside them with Rodriguez and Chafin, and then Pineda. Pineda's he's from the Yankees. He's played in quite a few playoff games, quite a few big games. And he played in Minnesota for a few years. So we got guys in this clubhouse that know how to win. Javier Baez won a World Series. A key factor to that World Series. So there's no reason why they should not be in the playoffs this year. And that's going to be it for this video. I appreciate you guys watching, and make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you.